At our Thanksgiving dinner, my sister declared, "His riches are pure luck, he's truly an idiot." Can you imagine being called a lucky idiot by your own sister, in front of your entire family, knowing she has absolutely no idea you're secretly her boss? Well, I didn't just imagine it. I stared her dead in the eyes, smiled, and then, right there at the Thanksgiving table, I quietly pulled out my phone and fired her. Yeah, you heard that right. My sister, Kelly, called me a lucky idiot. And I ended her career in 90 seconds. She didn't realize how truly unlucky she was until her direct deposit didn't hit a few days later. But trust me, luck had nothing to do with it. This story? Oh, this has been building for years. Let me take you back. I'm 32, Kelly's 28. We grew up in a totally normal, middle-class suburban family. Our parents, both accountants, preached hard work and education. Pretty standard stuff, right? They taught us that if you focused and put in the effort, good things would happen. Great advice, in theory. But Kelly and we were just wired differently from day one. I was the kid who saved every penny, mowed lawns to buy a better bike, devoured investing books in high school. Kelly? She blew her allowance the day she got it, then begged for more. She was all about celebrity gossip, barely scraping by in college while I worked part-time gigs to fund my future. Look, I'm not saying I was perfect, not by a long shot. I just had different priorities. I craved financial security. I wanted to build something. Kelly wanted to have fun and, well, figure it out later. Neither path is inherently wrong, but they lead to wildly different places. After college, I landed in renewable energy consulting. Sounds boring, I know, but it was actually fascinating. I helped companies switch to solar and wind, handling the financial side. The industry was booming, and I was good at it. Really good. Within 3 years, I was managing huge accounts, pulling in 6 figures. But here's the kicker: working for someone else always has a ceiling. I watched my boss buy his 3rd vacation home while I got a measly 3% raise. I was generating millions, seeing maybe 10% of that value in my own pocket. The math just didn't add up for my long-term goals. So, at 27, I made a decision that my entire family thought was pure insanity. I quit. Walked away from that comfy corporate job to start my own renewable energy firm. My old boss actually laughed in my face. Said I'd be back begging for my job within a year, that the industry was too tough, I didn't have the connections. His condescending smirk? That was almost as motivating as my own ambition. That first year? It was brutal. 80-hour weeks. Ramen for dinner more times than I care to admit. Sleepless nights, staring at my laptop at 2 a.m., wondering if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. I maxed out 2 credit cards just keeping the lights on, building that client base from scratch. There were moments I truly thought everyone who doubted me was right. My parents were supportive, but you could see the worry in their eyes. Dad would gently suggest there was no shame in going back to corporate. He meant well, but it felt like he was already writing my obituary. And Kelly? Oh, Kelly thought I was an absolute idiot. She loved telling anyone who would listen that I'd fail within 6 months and come crawling back. She'd joke at family dinners about me working for her soon. Real supportive sister energy, right? About 8 months in, I hit rock bottom. $247 in my business account. Hadn't paid myself in 3 months. Living on credit cards and fumes. I was sitting in my tiny apartment, seriously contemplating just admitting defeat. But then that proposal landed. A mid-sized manufacturing company wanted to go solar. Not a huge contract, maybe $80,000, but it was enough to keep me afloat. And more importantly, they referred me to 3 other companies. Then those led to more referrals. Suddenly, I had momentum. Spoiler alert, I didn't fail. By year 2, 3 major contracts. By year 3, I was hiring people and turning down work because we were at capacity. And now, 5 years later? 23 employees. Over $8 million in annual revenue. Personally clearing around $400,000. I still drive the same used Honda Civic. Live in a nice but modest house. Don't flash money around. To the outside world, I'm just some regular guy. And that's exactly how I like it. The people who matter know what I've built. Everyone else? They can think whatever they want. Kelly, meanwhile, had 8 jobs in 6 years. She went to college for communications because it sounded easy. Graduated with a 2.6 GPA, no real plan. Since then, she'd bounced from retail to restaurants, an insurance office, a gym, some marketing agency that fired her in 4 months. There was always a reason. The job wasn't right. Her boss was terrible. She deserved better. 2 years ago, she showed up at my door crying. Fired again for being late. Needed rent money or she'd be evicted. Promised this was her wake-up call, swore she'd pay me back. I gave her the money. Not as a loan, I knew it was gone. But she's my sister. I didn't want her homeless. I told her, though, this was it. No more bailouts. She needed to figure her life out. She nodded, thanked me, promised. Then she bought a new iPhone the next week. Priorities. 6 months later, the phone rings. It's Kelly. Does my company have any job openings? She hated her retail job, wanted better pay, benefits, something professional, and important. Every logical bone in my body screamed no. Don't mix family and business. Don't hire someone with her track record. Don't do it. But she's my sister. And Mom kept dropping hints about how wonderful it would be if I could help Kelly. And Kelly actually sounded genuine. Like she wanted to change. So, against my better judgment, I created a position for her. Client Services Coordinator. Fancy title for answering emails, scheduling meetings, basic admin work, keeping client comms organized. Entry level. $42,000 a year plus benefits. Good money for that job, honestly more than she'd ever made. I sat her down. Laid out crystal clear expectations: show up on time, respond to emails, keep the database updated, be professional. Basic stuff. She nodded, promised she wouldn't let me down. For the first month? She was great. Early, enthusiastic, learning. I actually started thinking I'd been wrong. Maybe she had turned a corner. Then month 2 hit. And the cracks. Started with 5-10 minutes late. Then 15-30 an hour. Always an excuse: traffic, alarm, not feeling well. Never her fault. Work quality tanked. Emails went unanswered. Meetings double booked. Our client database became a disaster zone. Patricia, my office manager who's been with me since year 1 and never complains unless it's a real problem, came to me 3 times about Kelly. The final straw. A client flew in from Nevada for a critical presentation. Kelly scheduled it. At 1:45 p.m., our front desk called, conference room not set up, Kelly nowhere to be found. She'd gone to lunch at noon and just never came back. No call, no text. Turns out she bumped into friends and decided to hang out. She strolled in at 4 p.m. like nothing happened. I had to personally apologize to that client, reschedule their flight. We got the contract, but only by comping part of our fees. That single incident cost me $15,000 and nearly ruined a crucial relationship. When I confronted her, she said she lost track of time, and it wasn't a big deal since I was there to handle it anyway. Not a big deal. Another time, she sent an email to a prospective client with so many typos. They called me asking if we were a legitimate company. We look forward to doing business with your company. I pulled her aside. Told her, boss to employee, the lateness and quality had to stop. She immediately got defensive. Said I was too hard on her, the job was too stressful. Patricia was jealous. Patricia, who makes $95,000 plus bonuses and has equity in the company, jealous of Kelly? It was absurd. I gave her a formal written warning. Documented everything. 30 days to improve, or her position was in jeopardy. She cried, promised. Things got better for 2 weeks. Then right back to square one. But it wasn't just the performance. It was her attitude. complaining about how hard she worked, while taking hour-long lunches and glued to her phone. Saying she was underpaid, despite making more than market rate. Comments about how easy I had it as the owner, like I just sat around counting money. My other employees started grumbling about Kelly getting special treatment. And they were right. Any other employee would have been gone months ago. But she was family. The real final straw came 3 months ago, right before Thanksgiving. A major client, a $2 million contract, emailed Kelly with questions about a proposal. Simple stuff: start date, payment schedule, preferred vendors. Her job? Forward, get answers, compile a professional response. She never responded. A week later, they followed up, annoyed. Still nothing from Kelly. They followed up again, directly with me, seriously irritated. They were ready to walk. I found out because they called me, not her. When I asked Kelly, she said she was busy with other tasks. And forgot a $2 million client. Forgot the basic job I paid her $42,000 to do. I spent 3 hours on the phone, personally smoothing things over, apologizing, offering a discount. I saved the contract, barely. But the damage to our reputation was done. I should have fired her then. But Thanksgiving was 2 weeks away. Mom was so happy we were working together, so proud I was. Helping my sister build a career. I couldn't ruin her holiday. So I decided to wait. Enjoy Thanksgiving, then the next week, have a professional conversation, give her 2 months severance. Clean, generous. Then Thanksgiving dinner happened. Whole family there. Mom outdid herself. Turkey, stuffing, pies. Everyone was happy, talking, laughing. After dinner, we're all in that blissful, post-meal haze. Someone asked me about work. I gave my usual polite answer. Business is good, strong year, grateful for my team. Just polite conversation. That's when Kelly decided to chime in. Yeah, well, he got lucky. That's all it is. The table went silent. I looked at her, thinking I misheard. But she had this smug smirk. My dad, confused, asked, "What do you mean?" Kelly leaned back, getting comfortable for her performance. I mean, he acts like he's some brilliant businessman, but he just got lucky with timing. The renewable energy boom happened right when he started. He rode the wave. Anyone could have done what he did if they'd been in the right place at the right time. My uncle raised an eyebrow. Mom looked horrified. Kelly's boyfriend, Jake, was nodding along like she was dropping pure wisdom. I just sat there, waiting to see how deep she'd dig the hole. Oh, she dug. Honestly, if you look at it objectively, he's not even that smart about business. She continued, on a roll now, relishing her audience. Like his whole strategy is just undercutting competitors on price. That's not genius. That's basic. A trained monkey could do what he does. Kelly. Mom started, but Kelly waved her off. No, it's true. Everyone acts like he's this amazing success story, but it's literally just luck. Right time, right industry, right circumstances. He works hard, sure, but so do lots of people who aren't successful. The difference is he got lucky. She looked right at me, daring me to disagree. My cousins stared at their plates. Dad looked like he wanted to intervene but was stunned. My aunt gave Kelly a look that could curdle milk. But I didn't get mad. I didn't defend myself. I didn't argue. I just smiled and nodded. You might be right, I said calmly. Luck definitely played a role. She looked almost disappointed I didn't take the bait. She'd wanted a fight. Exactly, she said, practically preening. People need to stop acting like he's special. He just got lucky. That's the truth. Well, my uncle said, trying to change the subject. Lucky or not, it's working out well for him. For now, Kelly added. But luck runs out eventually. Then we'll see how successful he really is. Mom suggested we move to the living room for pie. Everyone jumped at the chance to escape the awkwardness. As people got up, I pulled out my phone. Pretended to check messages. Opened my company's HR app. Navigated to Kelly's profile. Employment status drop down. Changed it from active to terminated. Entered today's date. Reason: performance issues and violation of company conduct policy. The app asked me to confirm. Yes. Asked about final payments or severance. No. The whole thing took maybe 90 seconds. By the time I walked into the living room for pie, Kelly was officially unemployed. Her access revoked. Her next direct deposit cancelled. I sat down with my pumpkin pie, listening to Kelly continue her tirade, now criticizing my house for being too small for someone who made so much money. I just nodded and ate my pie. I didn't say a word. Why would I? She'd find out soon enough. The rest of Thanksgiving passed in a haze. Kelly eventually moved on to other topics. We watched football. Dad fell asleep. Standard stuff. When she left that evening, she hugged Mom and Dad, said goodbye to everyone. She didn't even look at me. I went home and slept better than I had in months. No guilt. No second guessing. Just pure relief. Friday morning, I got to the office early. Patricia was already there. I called her in. Kelly's no longer with the company. Patricia's face softened from relief to concern. Are you okay? She asked. I'm fine, I said. It was overdue. We'd redistribute her responsibilities. Patricia nodded. I'll handle it. And for what it's worth, you made the right call. She wasn't a good fit. I know, I said. I should have done it sooner. We sent a brief email to the team. Professional, to the point. A few employees came by my office that day. No one asked what happened. They all knew. They'd watched Kelly coast for months while they did the actual work. A couple even thanked me. That stung a bit, knowing I'd let family loyalty cloud my judgment for so long. The day Kelly's direct deposit should have hit was the following Friday. Around 2 p.m., my phone started blowing up. Text from Kelly. Hey, my paycheck didn't deposit. Can you check with payroll? I didn't respond. Another text 10 minutes later. Seriously, where's my paycheck? This is ridiculous. Third text 5 minutes later. I need that money today. I have bills to pay. Fix this now. Then she called. I declined. She called again. Declined again. Then my office phone rang. Patricia picked it up. Listened for a minute, then walked into my office, trying not to smile. Kelly's online too, she said. She's very upset about her paycheck. Tell her to check her email. I said. She should have received a termination notification last week. Patricia relayed the message. Then I heard Kelly's voice, loud, through Patricia's phone. Patricia said something else, then hung up. She says she never got any email. Patricia reported. And she's demanding to speak with you. Did you verify the termination email was sent? I asked. Patricia checked. Sent Friday at 8 a.m. to her company email. Of course. She probably hadn't checked it since Thanksgiving. Kelly treated work email like it was optional. If she calls back, I said, tell her to check her company email for all relevant information. And if she harasses our line again, we'll block her. Kelly called back 3 times. Patricia gave her the same message. Eventually, she blocked her number. Then Kelly started texting me personally. The messages got angrier and angrier. You fired me? Are you kidding right now? You can't just fire me without warning. That's illegal. Mom is going to hear about this. Dad, too. You're going to regret this. I can't believe you do this to your own sister. You're a terrible person. This is because I told the truth about you at Thanksgiving, isn't it? You're that petty. You owe me that paycheck. I worked for that money. I responded to exactly one text. You received your final paycheck for all hours worked up to your termination date on November 25th. Any questions about your termination should be directed to HR. Then I muted the conversation. She tried calling my personal phone. I didn't answer. She even showed up at my office on Monday morning, but our building has security. They called me. Expecting a Kelly Turner? No. She's no longer employed here. Please ask her to leave. They did. The real fireworks started when she called our parents. Mom called me that Monday evening. She sounded upset. What's this about you firing Kelly? No hello? No. How are you? Just straight to the accusation. It's true, I said. Without even talking to her first? Without any warning? She had multiple warnings, Mom. Written documentation, performance improvement plans. I'd been trying to work with her for months. She chose not to improve. But she's your sister. And she was my employee. A bad employee. I gave her more chances than I would have given anyone else, because she's my sister. But I can't run a business on family sentiment. Mom was quiet. Kelly says you fired her because she said you got lucky at Thanksgiving? She thinks you're just being petty and vindictive. I actually laughed. Mom, I fired her because she was bad at her job. She consistently showed up late, ignored client emails, created problems for my team, and cost me a major contract because she couldn't be bothered to do basic tasks. The Thanksgiving comment had nothing to do with it. She says you did it on your phone right there at dinner. I processed her termination on Thanksgiving, yes. But the decision was made weeks ago. I was planning to fire her that following Monday anyway. Her little speech just moved up the timeline. You should have talked to her first, given her another chance. I gave her 6 months of chances, Mom. How many more did you want me to give her? Mom sighed. She's really struggling now. She doesn't have a job. She's behind on rent. She needs help. Then she should have thought about that before she decided to coast at the one job where someone actually gave her a real opportunity. I said more firmly than I usually spoke to my mother. She's family, and I'm not her personal ATM. I helped her by giving her a good job with good pay. She threw that away. Those are the consequences of her own choices. Mom didn't like that answer. She tried the guilt trip. Your little sister, and you should want to help her. I listened politely, then told her I had to go. My dad called the next day. He was more direct. You need to give Kelly her job back. No preamble. No, I don't. She's your sister. You can't just abandon her like this. I'm not abandoning her, Dad. I'm holding her accountable for her work performance. There's a difference. She made one comment at Thanksgiving and you ruined her life over it. Dad, I kept detailed records of every performance issue. Every late arrival. Every missed deadline. Every client complaint. This has nothing to do with Thanksgiving and everything to do with 6 months of documented poor performance. Ask her about the $2 million client she almost lost us because she couldn't be bothered to respond to an email. Dad went quiet. What client? I explained. How Kelly had ignored multiple emails, how I'd had to personally intervene. She never mentioned that. My dad said slowly. Of course she didn't, Dad. Because that would require her to take responsibility for her actions instead of blaming everyone else. Dad was silent for a long moment. Your mother is very upset about this. I'm sorry she's upset, but I made the right business decision. Kelly was a liability to my company. I couldn't keep her on staff just because we shared DNA. Family is supposed to support each other, he said, almost pleading. I did support her, Dad. I gave her a job she wasn't qualified for. I paid her more than market rate. I gave her chance after chance. At some point, support becomes enabling. I'm not going to enable her to coast through life, expecting other people to carry her. Dad didn't have much to say to that. He told me to think about what I was doing and hung up. Kelly tried a few more times. Long texts about how unfair I was, how I'd never understood her, how everyone always expected her to be like me. How I was lucky and had advantages she didn't have. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. She'd built this narrative where she was the victim, and I was the villain. Nothing I said would change that. About 2 weeks after I fired her, Mom called again. She sounded tired. Your father and I loaned Kelly money for her rent. She's looking for a new job, but it's taking time. Okay, I said. We're disappointed in how you've handled this. That's your right, Mom. But I stand by my decision. She's your sister. You should have helped her. I did help her. For 6 months. I helped her. She chose not to help herself. Mom sighed. I don't think you understand how hard things are for her right now. I understand perfectly well, Mom. I also understand that she created this situation for herself. I'm sorry she's struggling, but those are the natural consequences of her choices. You've become very hard, Mom said quietly. No, Mom, I replied. I've just learned that helping people who don't want to help themselves doesn't actually help them. It just enables them to keep making bad choices. We didn't talk for a while after that. My parents were upset. Kelly was telling everyone I'd betrayed her. My aunt thought I was harsh. My uncle, the quiet one, thought I'd done the right thing, but wouldn't say so publicly. But you know what? My business ran better without Kelly. Patricia hired a replacement within 3 weeks. Rachel, a recent college grad who actually showed up on time, responded to emails, and treated her job with respect. Client communications improved. Team morale improved. Everything just worked better. A month later, a text from Kelly. This one was different. Got a new job. Starts Monday. Just wanted you to know I'm fine. I texted back. Glad to hear it. Good luck. No response. I didn't expect one. That was probably the last direct communication we'd have for a while. Maybe forever. Some bridges burn, and they stayed burned. My parents slowly started talking to me again. Things were strained, but they'd call about neutral topics. Dad sent me an article about a solar project. Small gestures. The underlying tension was still there. They still thought I was wrong. I still didn't care. Christmas was awkward as hell. Kelly was there with Jake. We didn't speak. She spent the whole time on her phone or whispering to Jake. I hung out with my cousins far from her. At one point, Dad tried to play peacemaker. Why don't you two talk and work this out? Like we were toddlers. Kelly looked at me with cold eyes. I looked back with equal indifference. We both stayed silent. Dad gave up. Right after New Year's, things got interesting. Kelly, apparently, had told Jake her twisted version of events. How I'd fired her out of jealousy and spite, how I couldn't handle her telling the truth about my success, what a terrible person I was. Jake, in his infinite wisdom, decided to help her get revenge. He created a fake Google review for my company. 1 star. Claimed we'd scammed his business out of $50,000, never delivered, called us frauds. Problem for Jake? I have Google alerts set up for my company name. I saw it within an hour. The account was brand new, only 1 review. Not exactly a sophisticated operation. I screenshot everything, flagged it as fraudulent. It was gone in 48 hours. Then I had my attorney send Jake a cease and desist letter for defamation. The letter mentioned potential legal action. Kelly called me 2 days later, absolutely screaming about me, threatening her boyfriend. I told her calmly that if her boyfriend wanted to commit actionable defamation, he should be prepared for the consequences. Then I hung up. Jake apparently backed off after that. No more fake reviews. Turns out, when you threaten people with actual legal consequences, they tend to reconsider. In February, Mom called with news. Kelly had been evicted. She'd been staying with Jake, but that relationship had imploded after the legal threat. Now she was asking if she could move back in with our parents. Mom asked if I'd reconsider hiring Kelly back. I said no. Asked if I'd at least loan her money for a deposit. I said no again. Mom said I was being cruel. I reminded her that Kelly had burned every opportunity, insulted me publicly, and had her boyfriend try to sabotage my business. At what point was Kelly responsible for her own situation? Mom had no answer. Kelly moved back home at 28 years old. March brought the real satisfaction, though. Remember that $2 million client Kelly almost lost us? The one I barely saved? They came back with an expansion proposal. They were so happy with our work on their first 5 buildings, they wanted us to handle 12 more. This new contract? $5 million over 3 years. During the signing, their VP actually mentioned how impressed they were with our communication improvements. He specifically praised our new client services coordinator for being responsive and professional. Said it was night and day compared to their initial experience. I thanked him, explaining we'd made some personnel changes to better serve our clients. He nodded approvingly. That contract put us on track to break $12 million in revenue for the year. We were growing faster than I'd projected. I hired 3 more employees, including a second project manager. Business was booming. I found out through Mom that Kelly was working at a department store again, minimum wage. Still living at home, still complaining about how unfair life was, still blaming everyone but herself. My parents stopped asking me to help her. I think they finally realized no amount of money or opportunities would fix Kelly's fundamental problem. She didn't want to do the work. In April, a LinkedIn message. Someone who'd worked with Kelly before said Kelly was telling people she'd left my company because I was running it unethically, claiming she quit on principle, not that she'd been fired. I posted a professional update on LinkedIn about our company's expansion and the importance of high standards. Didn't mention Kelly, but anyone who knew the situation understood. 2 former colleagues reached out, both saying they'd heard rumors from Kelly and were glad to see we were thriving. Her attempts to damage my reputation completely backfired. People in the industry talk. When they saw my company's actual success, it just made her look bitter and unreliable. By summer, things had settled into a new normal. My company hit 30 employees, over $15 million in projected annual revenue. We moved into a bigger office. I finally gave myself a raise and bought a newer car, still a Honda, just less beat up. My parents and I reached a peaceful détente. They'd stopped defending Kelly's behavior, mostly because even they couldn't ignore the pattern anymore. My dad actually apologized to me in June. Said he understood why I'd made the decision I made. That meant more than he probably realized. Kelly was still living at home, still bouncing between jobs. Last I heard, she'd gotten fired from the department store for being late too many times. Moved on to a call center. Mom stopped giving me updates unless I specifically asked. In August, I ran into Jake at a gas station. We made eye contact. He looked away immediately, scurried to his car. I just smiled and went about my day. Some battles win themselves. The best part? That came in September. We won a major industry award for innovative renewable energy consulting. Ceremony, trophy, write-ups and trade publications. My team was thrilled. Patricia cried happy tears. It was a huge validation of everything we built. The ceremony was a Thursday. The article published Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, my phone was blowing up with congratulations. Mom called that evening. She'd seen the article. Said she was proud of me. Then she said something that actually surprised me. Kelly saw the article too. She didn't say anything, but I could see it on her face. I think she finally understands what she gave up. I didn't respond to that. There wasn't anything to say. Kelly had made her choices. I'd made mine. And the results? They spoke for themselves. What do you guys think? Did I handle this situation the right way, or was I too harsh on my sister? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family when it comes to business? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts.